Hey, I'm reviewing my first Boulevard beer today, and it's one of my favorite styles, a Brett Saison, which they call Saison Brett, unsurprisingly. I guess it's just a Brett bottle conditioned and dry hopped version of Tank 7, their year-round Saison. But this one, I guess they kind of do it in an Orval style. They dry hop it and then they add yeasts, including brettanomyces, and let it bottle condition for 3 months. And if I'm reading the date right there, it says it was bottled January 27th of this year, so it's a little over 9 months in the bottle. And some sediment has developed nicely, so the dry hopping might not be super strong, but the brettanomyces is probably getting rather prominent. I've had this beer before, but it was years ago, and I don't remember so much about it. I remember it actually being a little bit milder than expected. And when I had that, I'm not sure how old that bottle was, but I know I had it on Thanksgiving like 2 or 3 years ago. So that bottle could have been similar age as this one. They use only simple malts, just pale 2-row malt and wheat, and I guess a little bit of flaked rice in here. And the hops are Magnum and Amarillo, so I'm guessing they probably dry hop it with some Amarillo, but we'll see if that's still prevalent. I'm sure the brettanomyces has helped preserve a little bit, and that is an intense pop right there. Yeah, I looked it up, and it's one of the most highly carbonated beers of all of theirs, but as a really good bottle-conditioned wild ale should do, or usually does, it didn't foam up at all. As you can see, there's just a few bubbles in there, even though that cork came right off, and there's not much, not like any sediment rising from the bottom. Sometimes with some Belgian ales, I notice that it'll pop off, it won't gush, but then all these weird chunks will come off the bottom. I'm going to try not to get too much head, though I do enjoy plenty of head. And it's really, really clear on top. All this yeast had settled to the bottom really, really well after being in there for 9 months. And I'm smelling some very fruity brettanomyces. I think they don't use much of the funky brettanomyces in this beer. And you can see ample carbonation coming out of the agitator there. Pretty cool looking beer. And the head is real big, but the bubbles are popping fast. But that's a very tropical, fruity, kind of Smarties, Smarties, almost sweet tart aroma coming from the brettanomyces. It's not big barnyardy or mushroomy or like super woody and stuff like that. Yeah, it smells sweet. It's slightly grassy. There's a lot of orange going on too, and some like ruby red grapefruit. Maybe that's a little bit of effect from the hops in there. But it smells really nice. It has that amazing ability of brettanomyces to make an somewhat aged beer smell like it was just freshly hopped and bottled. But yes, Smarties is a really, really good descriptor of that aroma. With just a very, very light, perry bubblegummy, juicy note to it. But it's not like some Saisons that can be really banana forward, almost just more like a Hefeweizen than a Saison. But the Saison yeast, yes, starting to fade a little bit. I still get some of that, kind of juicy fruit pear, and the clove spice is very, very subtle. There's not a lot of spice going on, at least in the aroma. And I get a little bit of a crackery wheat sort of thing too. And the head's sticking around. It's not super crazy looking head. It's getting kind of rocky now. Ooh. Yeah, a lot spicier in the flavor. Forgot to mention this is 8.5% alcohol, so pretty strong for a Saison. And that heat brings out some of the spiciness. And you got definitely a good amount of body, and I'm feeling some heat in my throat right now for sure. It's not an ethereal, light, airy Brett Saison, like a lower alcohol one. Some of the ones that I probably like a little more than this one, like that. The aroma is so soft and nice, but then this does hit you with some strong malt and booze. Still a little bit fluffy, but a little bit sticky, honestly, on the tongue. And I get, yeah, so a good amount of ethanol-y, almost solvent, medicinal things happening, and a little bit of the hallmark of brettanomyces, that chalky pill, almost aspirin sort of flavor, but there's a good amount of malt sweetness to make it be not too dry, but it is slightly harsh. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a lot of the same flavors as the aroma, but it just all gets sharper and stronger and boozier. Let's see if it changes if I get a little bit of yeast in there. The carbonation just explodes when I add it in there. Yeah, I'd have to get to the bottom of this bottle to have the yeast come out, but it's an expertly bottle conditioned beer. Really great combination of flavors and aromas, but it is a little harsh on it. But that, in part, is probably just due to its being 8.5% alcohol. I kind of wish it were lower. I know they could probably do one that's a little bit lower alcohol that would be to my tastes. But this is it's pretty well done. But it's something that, yeah, this bottle, maybe I might even recork it and save some for later. Because I realized that actually works with especially highly carbonated wild ales. They'll often have plenty of carbonation later on. Because this is a big bottle. It's pretty intense on the mouth. Rather boozy. It's not hiding the booze too well. But the aroma, I really love. Maybe the aroma was bringing my hopes up for the taste a little too much, because it's really pleasant. It's my favorite. It's a combination of a sort of pineapple, juicy fruit gum, and light pear. And there isn't too much apple going on. Sometimes Brett beers can be really appley and just like Granny Smith tart apples, very cidery. This isn't on that too much. It's still got lots of beery Saison yeast mixed with brettanomyces and a little hoppiness. And the feel on the tongue it is pretty nice. It's a kind of a heavy, fluffy sort of flavor, or feel, I should say. But then it's a little sharp. I'm getting used to it though. This is the first thing I drank today, so that first sip was like, whew, a little bit of a shock. But I'm getting used to it, and this would probably go well with a lot of different kinds of food. And also, especially cheeses. I might have this with some cheddar. That'd probably be a great pairing. So I'll do like a 80, maybe 80, 82 for this one. It's really great, but it's just not quite to my taste. Brett Saisons often can be super complex, but then they're just soft and very pleasant. And I don't want to see easy drinking, but just extremely palatable for their complexity. And this one's got the complexity, but it's like, whew, it smacks your throat a little bit with with a slight medicinal and boozy sort of thing. So that's why it's not my favorite, but it's definitely really good. And I would really be interested in what a fresh bottle of this is like. It might be a little bit milder on the chemically flavors, and the hops might be a little more prominent. So we'll do 82 for Saison Brett. Goodbye.